It's not every day that you get to see a book about ransomware and hackers, but in today's video, that's exactly what we'll be sharing with you. Just recently, a book has been published about how a team of volunteer technologists hunt down ransomware gangs. Surprisingly, a lot is going on behind the scenes, which makes it quite an interesting read, so make sure you tune in to find out more. Renee Dudley and Daniel Gold, authors of the Ransomware Hunting Team, a band of misfits' improbable crusade to save the world from cybercrime, takes readers inside the intricate and enigmatic world of the hacker underground in this extract from their new book. In addition to describing the intricate workings of the contemporary ransomware industry, the book also documents the arduous efforts of a group of volunteer scientists who have dedicated their lives to battling the criminal epidemic. The adventures of one such ransomware hunter, a gifted high school dropout turned security expert, are described in this passage by the authors. His life's work is to undo the harm done by criminals who create and disseminate the unlawful virus. Apocalypse, a ransomware organization, started attacking software that enables people to connect remotely to other computers in May 2016. The ransomware would not encrypt the data if the computers it targeted had their default language set to Russian, Ukrainian, or Belarusian. Fabian Wozar, a high school dropout who later became the creative force behind the antivirus company MCSoft, became interested in Apocalypse. Fabian was born and raised in Germany, but he now stays mostly inside his two-bedroom flat close to London. He may be the ransomware hunting team's most adept codebreaker. He is blue-eyed, bald, and unshaven. This secretive, invitation-only group of just a dozen tech experts from 7 nations has shown to be astonishingly successful in combating ransomware, one of the most pervasive and quickly spreading cybercrimes since it was founded in 2016. The unholy union of hacking and cryptography is ransomware, wherein attackers frequently take advantage of a cybersecurity hole or trick a vulnerable victim into opening an attachment or clicking a link. When ransomware enters a computer system, it encrypts the files, making them unavailable to anybody without the proper decryption key, the series of characters that can unlock the data. The ransomware hunting team has prevented millions of victims, people, businesses, hospitals, schools, and government agencies from paying billions of dollars to hackers, nearly invariably without taking any money in exchange. Fabian rapidly cracked 3 versions of what he termed Apocalypse's amateurish code, as he has done with other kinds of ransomware numerous times previously, and distributed the keys to victims. Fabian also cracked the additional 6 versions that Apocalypse released. Fabian successfully decrypted the first 2 iterations of his name brand ransomware, just as he had done with Apocalypse. The ransomware's agitated creator decided to save time in October 2016 by running it through Fabian to see whether it was impervious to attack before publishing a 3rd version. The developer asked Fabian if he liked the code and gave him a link to the sample, saying that he is quite certain that Fabian cannot crack it. This rendition had his Twitter avatar, plump face, buzz cut, wire-in black glasses, and goatee, with one exception. Directed straight at him. Fabian spotted this. He put aside the slight and began to examine the ransomware. The hacker then adopted a more gracious tone, calling Fabian a god for defeating the earlier iterations and inquiring as to how he had managed to crack one of them in just 1 day. He also agreed after Fabian pointed out that his operations were easy to understand and simple to implement, and told him that they'll continue this funny war sometime. Then, the Apocalypse developer picked up the conversation a week later and tried to convince Fabian to join him. Apocalypse's approach was not unusual. The creators of ransomware contacted the hunters to influence them by flattering, berating, or otherwise joking with them. They had many of the same skills and shared the team's obsession with ransomware. Fabian could have been one of the top ransomware attackers instead of one of the top ransomware hunters in the world, as the creator of Apocalypse accurately noted. According to Lawrence Abrams, co-founder of Ransomware Hunting Team, Fabian and the hackers are kindred spirits. The majority of the attackers, who are dispersed worldwide, but mostly comprised of young men from Eastern Europe, are similar to the ransomware hunting team. Some gangs appear to receive some government support in nations like Russia and North Korea, and in some situations, they act as weapons in an unreported cyber war. Some hackers take great delight in upholding a code of ethics. The gangs understand that future victims will be less likely to cooperate if they have a reputation as double-crossers. They use a variety of justifications to justify their extortion. However, even if they claim it has nothing to do with money, it probably does. Fabian successfully decrypted so many variants of ransomware that preventing hackers became second nature. He found it amusing that the villain would occasionally express theatrical acclaim or protest in addition to these victories. In their ransomware programs, defeated hackers occasionally hid messages for their adversary. Some fawned over Fabian, while others begged him not to decipher their codes, which he did nonetheless, causing them to make insulting comments towards him. Additionally, he found that a Twitter trap had been set up for him. The tweet with the coded message was sent out by a phony Fabian Wozer account. He decrypted it and discovered the URL of a website that tracked IP addresses, the string of digits used to identify internet-connected devices. The site's administrators could have identified Fabian's location as a city or perhaps a neighborhood if he had accessed it from his home computer. He was still residing in his native Rostock, Germany at the time, but the messages that members of the Krypton ransomware organization were sending him via internet forums were even more concerning. Krypton attacked both private people and businesses, although one of its algorithms proved flawed. 2017 saw Fabian find the weakness and crack the first 3 iterations. Krypton's developers, who were thought to be Russian speakers, sent Fabian a not-so-subtle warning by saying that their friends would like to visit him in Hamburg, Germany. Given that Hamburg was only a 2-hour drive from Rostock, he had given it as his address on LinkedIn. He soon realized that this was a stern warning from them to stay out of their affairs. The team members were unaware of another effect, which was the disruption of hackers' sources of income. Their revenue stopped after Fabian decrypted their ransomware. That meant they couldn't provide for their families, while others had to put off purchasing a high-end automobile. He already had the Russian mob in mind, because Rostock was known as a hub for organized crime. In 2011, the Russian head of Weight & Yards, a shipyard close to Fabian's home, was fatally murdered in Moscow in what appears to have been a contract killing. Even though there is no proof that traditional organized crime groups and cybercriminals collaborate, Fabian started to get apprehensive. Fabian then decided to move to the United Kingdom because of its more stringent privacy regulations at the end of 2017, when he felt compelled to leave Germany for his own safety. After moving, Fabian noticed a decrease in the frequency of the direct compliments and jabs from hackers that he had been accustomed to. He wasn't under their radar either. Instead, the industry of ransomware was developing, and hackers were growing more skilled. Fabian received the impression that the majority of the hackers who had gotten in touch with him were either lone hackers or part of a small group. But by the time he made his move, a lot of ransomware creators were working with bigger gangs. The ransomware as a service strategy involved developers giving other hackers the responsibility of actually disseminating the virus. The ransomware model dates back to 2014, when a variant known as CTB Locker published a dark web advertisement offering $10,000 to affiliates who were interested in using it. The developer would take a 30% cut of ransom payments in addition to the first payment. Such advertisements drew hackers who ran botnets because ransomware at the time was a big business that targeted home users. The off-the-shelf kits allowed hackers to succeed without necessarily having extensive technical skills. Ransomware as a service program advertising flooded dark web forums as the model gained popularity and sophistication. Gangs evolved several means of making money, some billed for a one-time license fee and others for a monthly subscription. The affiliate application procedure eventually developed a competitive edge. The most ambitious gangs started to favor associates who knew how to infiltrate large corporate, government, educational, and healthcare targets, which had considerably larger budgets than residential customers with their ransomware. A particularly ambitious organization called Revil was growing its operations and hiring for a limited number of seats in July 2019. Its Russian-language advertisement warned off novices. Candidates were warned by Revil that they would not be permitted to spread the ransomware in Russia or the Commonwealth of Independent States. If they were hired, their share of the ransom money would be 60%, rising to 70% after the first 3 payments. Revil maintained the specifics of its operation under wraps, conscious that rivals, law enforcement officials, and security researchers were examining its adverts. It's interesting to know that a lot of socio-political factors are involved in the book, and as much as we'd like to discuss more, we're already out of time. So, thanks for watching today's video about the latest book revolving around ransomware gangs. How are you liking the excerpt so far? Let us know in the comments section below. Before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these, and we'll see you next time.